Welcome back to another awesome episode of Southern Extreme TV. Guys, today I have a pretty cool episode for you guys. I'm going to be talking about turkey hunting, taking a break in hunting today. As you can tell, I'm trying to beat the weather right now. I've actually got a towel over my camera to try to bring this video for you guys. So hopefully it's going to work out. I got a little break in the weather, so I'm going to try to piece this thing together since I can't get out in the woods and turkey hunt. Today I am talking about beginner's guide to turkey hunting calls. So basically, what are some of the easiest calls to use to get started out in turkey hunting, and what are some of the simplest ones to use while you're out there in the woods. Now, I got a box sent to me by a viewer up in Virginia, and basically today I'm going to be just kind of breaking down what my personal opinion is on some of the easiest calls to use, and also some of the most effective calls to use. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into it. Before we get too far into it, the calls that I'm going to be showing you guys today was sent to me from Andrew Frazier, and I'm going to have his telephone number, email address, all that information listed on this business card, and he is with Jag Calls. He is the owner of this company. He's been watching my stuff for a little while, and he asked if he could send me some stuff just to kind of make a video and let you guys take a look at some of his things. So that's what we're going to do today, and basically we've got a beginner's guide to turkey calling. So to get started off, I'm going to go basically from the easiest to use to what I consider to be a little more difficult. Now, I plan on doing another video a little bit later on that's going to have a little more in-depth calls, such as like your slate calls, glass calls, things of that nature, scratch boxes, things like that. That's a little more advanced. I don't want to say advanced, that's kind of a loose term. It's a little more difficult to use than some of these calls. So to start off with, I'm going to go with the easiest turkey call that is on the market that anybody can run, and that is a push button box call. This thing right here is probably responsible for more deaths to turkey than any call on the market out there. It's very simple to use, and the one thing that I love about this call is the fact that you can use it with one finger and one hand. Now, the reason that is huge for me, and let me go and put this out here, guys. I don't use Jag calls. I don't use anybody's calls. I call with my natural voice, so I don't worry about this stuff. This is mainly for you guys that maybe you can't call with your natural voice and you have to use some type of call. So this is to help you guys out and help you become a better turkey hunter. Now, with that being said, if I had to choose a call to use, it would be a push button box. The reason for that is one hand operation, ease of use, and when I'm filming and I'm in the woods, I need to have a lot of versatility in what I'm using, especially if that turkey's getting in close to me, mainly because I really want to limit my movements because they have the best eyesight almost out of any bird that's out there. So a push button like this is very simple to use. Can be highly effective on longbeards, and what is cool about it is it takes almost no skill. It takes zero to little practice. The one thing that you're going to want to do though is if you purchase one of these push button calls, whether it be from Jag Calls or from anybody for that matter, you're going to want to purchase, if not if the company doesn't give you some, which I was given in this box, a block of chalk, and it's calling chalk. And basically all you're going to do is on the underside where on these box calls you're going to have a small little I like to call it, I don't know what the technical term is for it is, but it looks like a pyramid that sticks up, and then you have a flat piece of wood and it scrubs against it, and that's where you get that sound from. On your flat piece of wood that touches you're going to want to flip that over and use this chalk and really chalk that call down. That's what's going to give you that good raspy sound, you know, that really raspy sound that's going to sound like an older mature hen that is possibly ready to breed. Now, I'm going to end on that note there, and I'm going to step over to another call. This is another call that is one of my favorites. It's not quite as versatile in my opinion as the push button is, and the reason for that is I cannot purr with this call. I can't purr on top of the fact that it takes two hands to operate it. What I'm talking about is just a box call. Now, some of the positives about this is you get phenomenal volume out of it. So those midday hunts where those turkeys are kind of shut up and you're not really hearing anything and you're just kind of covering ground trying to get one to fire up and gobble, this is the call you're going to want to go to, because you can really hammer that thing, make it be really loud, get really vocal, and sometimes you can get an excitement gobble out of that turkey and you can then pinpoint where he's at. So this is going to be my number 2 on the easiest calls to learn and easiest calls to use. Now, going back to that push button, talking about chalking it, same thing with this one. This right here is the part that you're going to want to chalk. You see, this is kind of a handle. Now, you're going to have some people that's going to use this different ways. You're going to have some people that's going to hold the top part and they're going to move the box to operate it. I personally like to hold the box and move the handle to operate this call. Either way will work. It's personal preference, and however you learn it and however you practice the call is the way that you need to use it. So I'm going to give you guys an example of what this sounds like. Very simple, very easy to use. The downside about it is you can't get that quiet with it. Some of them you can. My personal opinion, I really like to call soft and I really like to call quiet. A lot of guys that use these box calls, they don't like calling quiet. They like calling a lot louder than some of the other guys. Whereas your push button, you can really get down quiet. And sometimes those subtle, soft yelps and purrs and putts, a lot of times that's what you need to get that turkey to close that 70-yard to 30-yard mark to put him right in your lap and to be able to pull the trigger on that turkey. Now, there is something that this box call can do that this push button or really any other hand calls can do. A lot of your call guys that you're seeing on the market now are using a rubber band to hold it together so that way it doesn't, fumble around and make noise in your turkey pack. But there's another reason that they're going to use this rubber band, and it's for something that you might not be familiar with if you're new to turkey hunting and you're new to calling. You can actually make this thing gobble. Now, like I said before, I don't use any calls whenever I go turkey hunting. All I use is my natural voice. So I'm not the best at this, but I'm gonna try to give you my best impression of it. Something similar to that. It's not the best sounding because first of all, this is the first time that I've opened these calls. I lied right there. I opened the calls and I chalked them. That's all I did. So other than that, these calls are brand hammer new to me. And like I said, I don't use calls, so I don't practice them. So that's one thing that this box call is going to have over this push button call is you have the loud volume on it. You can cut and yelp really, really loud, cover a lot of area. You can gobble with it. But with the push button, you get the yelp, you get the purrs, you get the putts, but you're able to dial it down a little bit and use some softer, quieter calls. Now, how you want to possibly use these two together is, let's say it's midday and you're going through looking for that turkey. You're going to be using your big box call to get that turkey to gobble way, a long ways away. Once he strikes up and maybe he's 300 yards away, close a little bit of ground on him, put that box call up, switch over to your push button. That's going to allow you to sit there with that gun at the ready position and just slowly work that call and seduce that turkey in. I got to hurry this video up because the rain is coming. Now, with that being said, those are probably my top 2 beginners turkey calls and the easiest to use, even for guys that have been turkey hunting for a long time and you're looking to try to add something to your arsenal. These are 2 phenomenal calls to add that will probably put more turkeys in the back of your truck than any other call on the market. Now, also included in this, Jag sent me 2 diaphragm calls. Now, I am going to be 100% honest with you, I'm not even going to attempt to put these in my mouth and run them. The reason being is I can't run them. Something about the way my mouth is formed, I can't make it sound like I can make it sound like a turkey, I can't make it sound like a realistic turkey. Now, I will say if you are like me and you do struggle, one of the things that you're going to need to look for in these diaphragm calls if you want to learn it is you're going to want to find a manufacturer that will put these on a small base. And I'm trying to think of what it's a diaphragm. They're called a diaphragm or something like that. And basically what it is they make these metal cuts that go in the roof of your mouth that they put the tape around. A lot of them are too wide for my mouth, so they get all clogged up in the roof of my mouth and it just doesn't sound right. These guys make them with the youth model. Now what that's going to do is it gives you a little bit smaller of a call to work with in your mouth, and it makes it a little easier to handle, and it makes it definitely easier to learn for first-time turkey callers. So my personal opinion, if you're going to start out learning the diaphragm, you're going to need to get something with a small frame, something that's easy to put on the roof of your mouth, and go from there. Some of the cuts, and as far as cuts go, if you're not familiar with that, what I'm talking about is the way that the rubber, or the, it's basically just rubber, elastic. The way that it is cut is called a cut. And basically there's different style cuts, different depth of a cut that you can make. The two that he sent me here is a triple reed ghost cut and a triple reed bat wing. Now the bat wing is probably one of the most popular cuts that's on the market because you're able to get that raspy yelp out of it, which a lot of guys like to use. So for me, the triple reed bat wing cut is probably going to be my go-to on learning a diaphragm. It's the one that I can probably get the most realistic sound out of. Now you may be different. For example, my dad on the triple reed ghost cut, my dad can get a really good turkey sound out of that ghost cut, whereas I can't. I can get a turkey sound, but it's a little too high pitched for my personal opinion. Something like this would work really well in the fall if you guys have a fall season where you want to get that young hen sound. A triple reed ghost cut, it gets you, for my personal opinion, gets you a higher pitch and a higher volume, so it's able to imitate a a younger hen, something that maybe is a hen in distress or something along those lines. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap everything up. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple. I'm getting absolutely soaked right now. But guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Big shout out to Jag Calls for sending me this stuff, guys. In no way am I paid for this. Like I said, I don't use their calls. They watch my stuff. They sent me a box of stuff and just told me, say, hey, figure out a video if you want to using our stuff, and we'll go from there. So hey, the stuff that they sent me in this box I thought was a awesome beginner's guide for turkey hunting. So I figured, why not make a video and show you guys some very simple and very easy ways to put a big long beard in the back of your truck, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe all my stuff. And until next time, guys, I will see you in the woods or on the water. Thank you for watching.